Hello and welcome to Illumination Podcast with Nick and KISMA. I'm KISMA, and today's episode is How to Win at the Game of Life. Hello and welcome to Illumination Podcast with Nick and KISMA, bringing you ancient wisdom for modern day success so that you can have the mindset to get your life and business set.
As always, thank you for tuning in. And if you're new to the podcast, take a quick second to hit the subscribe button in iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. If you want to get the inside info for this and every episode, as well as some free gifts, go to illuminationacademy.net/podcasts. And now let's dive in to get your mindset for your life and business set.
Hello there, Nick.
Hey there, KISMA.
What's going on with you today?
It's been a little bit since we podcasted, eh?
It's been a little bit. We had our Kay Hendricks blowout episode. I think I was just so blown away with him. I was like, I don't know what else I could possibly say. And then I had a challenge. You had a training. You did the self-love course. I've been working on the abundance makeover. It's been a busy time where I think it was just like, we need a little rest from podcasting.
We did. And so we had that. And now we're back.
And now we're back with how to win at the game of life.
How to win at the game of life.
This game that we call life, this thing, this life that is a game.
I mean, I think personally speaking, I think it's really healthy to think about it as a game because otherwise you just take it too seriously. And kind of falling into that herd bucket of life is hard. It's hard. It's like that word is so heavy. We just can't use it, or it never works out for me, or I'm never going to be good enough. Like all of the heavy herd mentality stuff. And then I think when people operate and think like that, when they go to leave the planet, there's a moment of did I really think it? Did I throw it all away with this attitude? With all the worrying.
With all the worry and the attitude and the stuff. Yeah. So a game, a playful game, a fun game.
I mean, to me, it's not that there aren't serious things in life. It's kind of a funny paradox, I think, like just about everything, right? Is the paradox that on the one hand, it's like, this is your life, you know, like it's important, what we do with our time here on Earth is important. And it's not to diminish that, but at the same time, as if we make it so important, it gets really heavy, really fast. Yeah. And really, that's when all the worry and the anxiety, I'm going to get it wrong and it's never going to work. And all the heavy stuff, just like you said, starts to creep into it. And when you treat it like a game, then you have a little bit more flexibility and you can have more fun with it. And it's not so serious. If you make a mistake or do something wrong, it's all right, well, I guess I'll just do something different. Right. You can just play the game differently. You can change the rules of the game, which is fun.
Exactly.
We can't change the universal laws, but we can change how we act within those things.
Well, we want to change how we act within those and play with them. Yeah. Play with the laws. So what's this first point that you actually talked about this in one of your mystic messages? And do you want to kick it off with this?
Well, this was something I picked up when we were watching the Great British Baking Show.
Love that show.
So
I missed the show. I think I'm going to go back, watch the whole thing again.
Yeah.
All of it.
That's been on our watch list.
It's a happy show.
It is. It's just a happy show. I'm kind of sad. It's a sad show now because it's I'm out of episodes.
I know. So I'm going to go watch it all again. Pretend I don't know who wins every season.
Well, we forgot that one time.
We went back to season 8. Because that's what we started with, or whatever. The most recent's what we started with when they were in quarantine. And then we went all the way back. I have to watch that one again because it has Noel Fielding and Matt, what's his name? Matt Lucas, Matt something.
Something, yeah.
And then Prue and Paul's I just have to watch it again. And we started and there were things that we forgot.
Oh, totally. Yeah. When does this person go?
Yeah.
I remember who. Did we remember who won? I don't think we did.
We did halfway through.
Oh, halfway through.
I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, if you've ever watched this, and if you watch any kind of reality competition show, you'll see aspects of this. There's a certain number of people who, and quite a lot of them, who they play at the beginning to not lose.
To not lose.
So you're like, I just need to not be the last person.
Yeah, that's the attitude of so many in the first season. I just don't want to go.
It kind of works because, you can maybe look around and see the weak links and it's like, all right, as long as I'm not as bad as that person, right? And then they'll go out and you'll stay in. And it's like, all right, you kind of pace yourself throughout it. And I think, honestly, I don't think it's a terrible strategy to start with.
Except the focus is on losing.
Well, there's that, but it's just
even though not losing, but they're still like losing.
Yeah, they're still losing in it. But it's more a matter of like, you can take that out of it and just say, all right, I want to just not be at the bottom, or I just want to be just above that, right?
Still at the bottom. But I get it.
You get what I'm saying, though. Like, it doesn't have
to. And just insert in the bake-off, there's like something about if you're the first person out, you're forgotten. Like,
those Brits, they get into they're like, I've peaked already,
no, but if you're off after the first episode, nobody remembers you except, you were the first person out in season 8 or season 7 or
true.
something.
Yeah. Yeah, you're more likely to be remembered for that. But you hear a lot of them say that too.
I just don't want to be the first one.
I just didn't want to be the first one to go. I just didn't want to be the first one to go. It's cute to listen to them talk about it. But at the beginning of the show, it's not a horrible strategy, actually, because it'll get you through the first few weeks. You can kind of find your footing. You don't have to worry about like knocking it out of the park and being the best ever. You can just focus more on like, I'm going to do my best.
Yeah. It's like running a marathon, right?
Yeah. I'm going to do my best. I can do what I need to do to shine, kind of find my groove. Cause you see like, well, there was that one gal, was it Ruby? Who I can't remember which season that was, but I was like, there's no way Ruby's making it.
Yeah, she was kind of a mess the first couple episodes.
And she actually wound up doing quite well in that season. I don't remember how far she got exactly off the top of my head, but she did a lot better than I thought.
She pulled it together.
And, there's something to be said for that. But to win, there's a difference between not losing and winning.
For sure.
And it's a huge difference. And when you put this in the game of life, I think a lot of people get into the mode of just not losing. So it's like, all right, I don't want to be the worst. I
just don't want to lose my job. Right. I just don't want to lose my business.
Right.
I just don't want to lose my car.
Right. I'll fly under the radar too. Yeah. So like nobody really notices, and I don't stand out too much or something like that.
Let's not do that.
But to make sure that, they stay in that safe,
right.
I'm taken care of here. I'm taken care of in this zone. And it winds up, I think energetically, it's just a really constricting kind of, it's like a diminishing energy that very much just gets smaller and smaller and smaller as you go along. Because you think about, if you look at the long range thing, okay, so you go, you can do that for a year or two. Maybe you do that in your teenage years and into your 20s. All right. Well, after that, you start to lose energy. They got the young kids coming up and it's a more competitive field and more things are changing more quickly in that. And you don't have the same kind of resources because the whole long while you're playing to not lose, right? It doesn't keep you in an innovative space. It doesn't let you be in a creative space. And it doesn't really let you access the resources that you're going to need to really propel yourself in life.
Right. Exactly.
So hashtag not losing, right?
Yeah.
Versus hashtag winning. I think to me, that's just like, it's an attitude shift.
It's a complete attitude shift. And when you think about the emotions underneath it and really sort of the zest for life, if you're just trying not to lose, it's a very, I don't know that it's heavy, but it's not exciting.
It's anxiety driven.
It can be anxiety and fear driven, right? And so anything that's driven by fear like that is just not going to bring about great results. I mean, and I'm sure that many people can do that and sustain it, but what's the internal pressure and what is being missed out on because of that just under the in the box, I guess I would say.
Yeah. I think to me, that's the part that you were speaking to before. Like it's got the losing in it.
And if you think about that, that's what, that's what happens.
Right.
Call it in.
But it's also that and the anxiety built around it, like, ooh, like I don't want to be that person,
So on the flip side of that, though, I think it's fair to say, what is winning? It's not winning by somebody else's definition. This is really important on how to win at the game of life, because this is your life.
Yeah. And this is the difference between like regular games and the life game, because in regular games, there are clear objectives. In Monopoly, you need to have all the property and all the money and wipe everybody else out. Like that's how you win at Monopoly.
Park Place.
Were you one of those?
Yes.
You'd buy those?
I just, yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't buy it all. Anyways.
Yeah. Well, you have to. Like when you're going around, like you just buy whatever you land on.
You got to buy.
You got to have something. That's not losing. Like if you're playing Monopoly to not lose, then you're going to wait to buy the certain properties. If you're playing to win, you buy everything because everyone is a bargaining chip for you to deal with. Yeah. Anyway, but in life, there's not these really clear objectives. I don't think there's the objectives that people tell us, you're supposed to make this kind of money. You have a good car. You should do better than your parents
But
did.
those are somebody else's objectives, somebody else's opinions.
They are. That's
so
right.
what's important to look at, what is winning according to each person's heart and nature?
Right. Like what are the goals and objective that you've designed for yourself? Like not everybody else's that you've decided that, okay, that seems right for me. So I guess, but the things that are really true in your own heart,
So what do you suggest? What are some of the qualities that people can think about and utilize to bring about a winning attitude to life?
Well, I think that just that part of it, that's not something I can really answer for everybody. Like you have to sit down with yourself and, probably with a journal and thinking about what's really important to you. Like, what does winning look like? There's a financial component to that.
Financial fulfillment, purpose.
Yeah. I think that, of course, there's your health, there's the people in your life and your relationships, there's your own mental and emotional stability, and clarity and, the amount of love. Like it's defined in the scriptures in different ways. If you buy into that kind of thing, you can find answers there. The Bhagavad Gita gives you all the qualities of a jnani and qualities of a bhakti and things to embody. The Bible's got tons of advice and aphorisms and guidance about like, this is how you do life. If you look in the yoga scriptures, you'll see plenty of things in karma yoga and bhakti yoga and all those sorts of things about like, this is how you take action. These are the ideals that you live by.
So what I'm looking for, because I know you taught this in your course, what are some of the shifters, let's say? So not so much attached to money or who's in your life or what kind of house or what kind of car, but ways of being that can really help to open up a person to see that they do deserve to win and win on their terms.
The first thing that pops to mind for me is your happiness inside of yourself. So in my mind, your relationship with yourself is probably one of, if not the most important thing that you can develop in your life.
Well, that thing going on between your ears, you're with it 24/7.
all the time.
So I think
morning to night and then in your dreams.
Right. So I think that is like a really relationship with self.
Yeah.
Super important.
It's number one, because that's where you find happiness. Like that's where you create happiness. And that's the split. That's no matter what you have or don't have or anything else. If you don't have a good relationship with yourself and it's a combative and conflicted kind of relationship, and there's a lot of stress and tension, like good luck.
Right.
Like who cares how long you live? Like you don't, who wants to live like that? Right. So I think winning to me is really having a beautiful relationship with yourself.
Well, from that point, let's say that relationship with self provides contentment. And contentment is not complacency. It's not being like, it's contentment, gratitude for all that one has, all that one is. And that is really the launching pad for more prosperity. But it's impossible to create more of whatever good one desires if you feel like one foot's in quicksand and you're reaching up higher.
Yeah.
So I think that is such a great launching pad to have that for winning at the game of life, is to have that beautiful relationship with self.
Yeah. I mean, I can't emphasize it enough. That's why I made the course on self-love. Like that's what that course is all about. It's basically like a master class in emotional intelligence and understanding like how to relate to yourself as a human being.
We'll share that link at the end.
Yeah. I mean, it was awesome to teach. It's, and it's fully built out and more of it coming. It's really, really cool. But speaking of the external desires, which are a natural part. Like I'm not saying
enjoying life.
Yeah. And I'm definitely not saying just ignore all of that to be happy. Like there are external goals, like that helps us to move and act in the world. That part's important too. But when you talk about winning, it's really important to remember, like this is advice from Swamiji and the Vedanta teachings, is that if your desires overtake everything, then you're always going to be losing.
Yeah.
So no matter how much money you have, if you constantly want more and aren't satisfied, or to use your word, contented with what you have, you're always going to be losing.
Yeah.
If you're a billionaire or if you have nothing, you're losing.
Right.
But the moment that your income surpasses your desire, you're winning.
You're rich.
You're rich.
Right.
That's how he says it.
It is. It's a really beautiful definition. Like if you, no matter how much you have, if it's not enough, you're poor.
You're poor. That's right. Because you're poor. You're poor inside of yourself.
Right.
And it's such a funny thing because we look around at other people in the world and we compare ourselves to others. Like, oh, if only, we never know what's going on inside that person. And it's really on the inside, whether they're winning or losing.
Right.
It's really that simple. And you talk about lack mentality and like, well, you're the expert on that. Talk about like what that does to somebody's prosperity.
Yeah. Lack mentality is just horrific. It's seeing, it's the belief that you're not good enough, not worthy enough, not deserving enough, that you just look around and seeing what you don't have rather than seeing what you do have, because there's a lot that every person has and is. And that lack mentality, you'll feel it in your body, in your energy field. It certainly seeps into and affects the material aspects, money, health, relationships. If you have lack energy, lack mentality, you're going to attract that into your life. And it's just a tough way to live.
Yeah. That's it's anxiety ridden.
I want to kind of add one more piece to this idea of winning the game of life, which, number one is it's your life. Back to that's your life. It's what your objectives are, what your values are. Number two, that relationship with yourself is going to, when the relationship with yourself is healthy and you're confident, the sky's the limit and beyond of what one can create. I think also seeing people in their highest and best is another way to win at the game of life. I'm really glad you brought that up. That wasn't on our original list. But it's
man, it's got to be on there. Yeah.
Because there's a couple reasons for this. How you're seeing someone else is how you feel about yourself. I'm sorry, it's there. If you look at somebody and you immediately go into judgment or criticism, somewhere that's in you about yourself. Otherwise, it wouldn't be at top of mind. You would just be like non-affected. Right? You'd be objective and just notice. It's like, okay, all right, that person is doing that. But when it triggers, when it agitates us or somebody and they start criticizing, it's in them. So it's a great thing to look at. Like, well, if you're putting that out because it's in you, this is the thing that you want to solve. And the flip side is the more that you can see the potential in other people and opportunities, the more you see the potential in yourself.
Yeah. I love it. Like to me, when you're constantly looking at the negative in people, you know, or drawn to those things. Like that's a tough pill to swallow, by the way, of like, oh man, there's something in me that's reflecting that. It's not always the happiest conversation. You know, it really does set you free. Like that's, you know, the truth shall set you free. Like that's what that means. Cause then you can see it and you can actually decide differently for yourself. But it's, you know, no two ways about it. Those are tough pills to swallow at times. But also when you're looking at the negative in people and your mind is constantly focused on that, well, that's all that you're going to see.
Yeah.
You know, you're just going to see more of that. And then your mind is going to go search out more of that because that's what's normal. And that's what you expect to see when you expect to see people being greedy and mean. And
well, not only that, it ends up being your frequency. And so then you pull more of that to see.
That's right. So it creates a vortex of just negativity
vibe buster.
And conflict. Vibe buster. Hashtag vibe buster. It just creates a total vortex of negativity and conflict and not good feelings and you know, thoughts that continues to like a tornado just spin and spin and spin.
I think as a coach, and I know we have a lot of coaches that listen to this podcast, there's a gift at being a coach that can see and speak to the potential in your clients and also be honest and direct. Like this isn't magical thinking and not being truthful if that's your job. Okay. I'm not saying like go run out and tell your friends all that's wrong with them. You want to see the potential, but there is something that's really beneficial when you can be direct and point out what isn't working if someone's hiring you to do that and to see the potential in them.
Yeah.
Like it's a very exciting place to be and to live. It's a great, I feel like great coaching client relationship, honesty and potential.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree.
And so take that for the self-coaching for your own self.
Yeah.
You know, everyone, it's like, be honest with yourself. You hear us say all the time, and this is another way to win the game of life, is be 100% accountable and responsible for whatever situation you're in. This is different from taking all the blame. This isn't about blame. It's like, what am I'm in this experience. I'm having this experience. I am responsible for this. In what way? That's the honesty. And then see your potential. What if you created this, you can recreate it.
That's right. Yeah.
It's cool.
That's a conversation that, you know, we have so often with clients. Like it was different in the course on self-love. Like it was very much like such a huge part of that course was really about like accepting yourself exactly as you are, like right here, right now. It was not a super goal oriented kind of process that we went through. It was more about shifting our relationship with ourselves and that, you know, but certainly when we're working with people one-on-one, that's such an important part of it. Like I'm really glad that you said that, like too, because there is an art to being able to see the potential in somebody and see what is getting in the way of that and not make it wrong.
Exactly.
Right. To really just help you understand what's going on and create a path forward that will get you where you want to go wuthout, cause then what, you know, like, and I've seen this a lot in the coaching world too, and the healing world too, as a matter of fact, is like, all like the quote unquote negative things or the, you know, the like whatever. It's like, it's all about fixing and it's all about like broken and it's all about like making those things wrong. Negative energy is bad and wrong. And it's like, no, it's just energy.
It's just energy,
you know? And so we need to deal with that in a more skillful way. And for where we're headed in the world, this is a super important conversation because discernment of this nature is what's going to get us out of the constant conflict that we see around us, you know, and in our culture.
Exactly.
It's a higher level of discernment.
So there you have it. Few things that you can use, everyone, to win at the game of life.
My name is Nick. This has been awesome, everybody.
Tell everyone, about the self-love course.
Oh, right. Yeah, I almost forgot that. I was just about to wrap it up. Self-love course, nickhansinger.com/love yourself.
Love yourself.
It basically, it takes you through 5 foundations of self-love, which deal with respect, trust. It deals with acceptance, Self-care is a really important one, and then self-actualization. So it walks you through all of these different aspects of self-love in really quite a deep way to make sure that each one of those is really being handled within yourself. It's not a 5 steps kind of thing, like you 5 steps and you absolutely love yourself. Like these are, but I can tell you that you will have a better relationship with yourself by the time you're done, but you're never done really building those foundations, and you're always working with some aspect of those in some way.
Right.
So it keeps you, what it's really designed to do is to keep you in a process of developing a really beautiful relationship with yourself, and always have those 5 key pieces to keep coming back to so you don't get off track.
I love it. nickhansinger.com/love
yourself.
Great. Thanks for sponsoring this episode. And to everyone else, there you have it. Go out and win the game of life according to who you are, your desires, your values, and let us know if we can do anything to support you. Email us at hello@illuminationpodcast.com.
And if you like this episode, give it a share. Give us some love. Share it out. Always happy to have more illumination in the world.
Okay, everyone. See you next time. Much love. Namaste.
Namaste.
Hey, thanks for jamming with us today. And if you enjoy Illumination Podcast, please go ahead and share it with someone you love. Give us a rating, review, download our podcast. And remember, you can find us at illuminationacademy.net/podcasts. Talk to you soon. Namaste.